Hello everybody, welcome in next episode of Hacky Tech Playground. All Hacky Tech fans will have a joy today because we will talk about infrastructure as a code. Let's go and let's explore it together. Infrastructure as a code is related with orchestration, it's related with automation, it's related with versioning of your infrastructure as a code or versioning of your instances. It helps you to do the source code review or the code review of your infrastructure as a code. It speeds up the deployment time and it offers the features which are usually not available in a typical deployment methods. There are plenty of platforms that you can use for deploying your infrastructure as a code in major cloud providers like AWS, Azure, IBM Cloud, or Oracle Cloud, or Google Cloud. All of these platforms, they support kind of infrastructure as a code. And it's a very, very cool thing and very great deployment type that allows you to do what you are not used to do in the normal on-premise solution. You can also use infrastructure as a code in your on-premise solutions for your virtual environment, but in this case I will try to focus on the cloud deployments and on the major platforms and major features and advantages of these platforms. So I hope that we will enjoy it together. I will be not able to show you everything, at least the major platforms and the major features. I will show them and I will showcase them to you. So enjoy. So let's talk about the known infrastructure as a code platform. ARM as a Azure Resource Manager, CloudFormation for AWS, Terraform for multi-platform deployment, and Google Cloud Deployment Manager. If you look for Juju, which is from Canonical, very interesting platform, SoulStack, Chef, or Puppet, which are more configuration management platforms, or something what people actually don't know in the market too much, it's a Troposphere as a Python platform for generating CloudFormation scripts. Let's talk a bit about infrastructure as a service or infrastructure as a code tools. In this case, I can talk about Juju or Juju, depends how you want to pronounce it, as a service. It's mainly good for Ubuntu. They have this JAAS.ai and they offer lots of features, and it looks that they are really focusing last days on deploying the Kubernetes resources and on the microservices. Also, they can help you with your OpenStack solutions. Not bad. I didn't know about this tool like a few weeks ago. I just discovered that and found it was really interesting and worth of exploration. Next one is from HashiCorp. It's Terraform. I think that everybody on the market knows Terraform. It's common language, very easy to read, very easy to write for lots of providers, and you can download it for multiple platforms, for macOS, FreeBSD, Linux, OpenBSD, Solaris, Windows, and it's very, very simple to start with. In this episode, I will work with Terraform and especially to show you some basic setup. Next one is AWS CloudFormation, and I think that I will dedicate a special lesson or special episode to CloudFormation and its related features, especially security, serverless application model, and I have something in my mind like WAF, Web Application Firewall as a code. And if you will go to awsamazon.com/CloudFormation, you will find lots of details and lots of interesting information. If you will click on Getting Started, yeah, some really cool videos which are having like few minutes, but if you really want to know how to create a template, it will let you know about how it should look like, what are the basic parts, what is the format version, output resources, parameters, all of these things. We don't have time to dig in every detail. It will be full training about that, but this is basically JSON or YAML based AWS native infrastructure as code. And the last one, and very interesting for people in the Microsoft world, is Azure Resource Manager. Azure Resource Manager allows you to work with a PowerShell, Azure SDK, CLI, REST clients, and then it matches here in Azure Resource Manager, allowing you to deploy data stores, web application, virtual machines. They work with a little bit different terminology than you are used from AWS or GCP with resource group or resource. And what is common for all of these languages is declarative syntax. Let's talk about Terraform. Terraform is one of the best platforms for infrastructure as a code. It offers multiple providers, Google Cloud, Azure, Oracle Cloud, whenever you like. It also helps you to integrate with the HashiCorp Vault, which is also from HashiCorp. It helps you to build, change, and version your infrastructure in an effective way. It offers modules which are coupled resources together. You can use it as couples, or how to say it, they are loosely, or not loosely, they are really tightly coupled together resources like VPC, NAT gateways, and all of these things that you need to have together in a module, and they are usually in the folder with the code. Then some variables manipulation, you have different modules, they can exchange the data between each other via variables and output. You can also use resource graph and planning, and it supports variable data types, like lists, objects, maps, strings, and tuples. And the basic flow is init, plan, apply, and destroy. Let's talk about Terraform and its features and what it brings as infrastructure as a code. So I will go with you through a very simple example, and I will show you the impact in AWS. So we will deploy a simple VPC with a simple setup and simple subnet. Basically, it will be very simple subnet. So let's do it in our setup. So here, the first line, I will try to describe what we have in front of us and describe how Terraform works. We have different providers. You can use a provider, for example, Oracle Cloud, you can use Azure, you can use AWS, and in this case, I'm using my default profile, which I configured with my AWS command line, and my region EU West. So I will deploy in EU West. And this is really good practice because usually you can have your access key and secret key here, and it's not a good idea because of security. And I want to also present you the security as a code, which is really beneficial and it's must have in today's environment, and it's must have for the security experts. So next thing what we will create is a resource. In this time, or in this case, it will be AWS S3 bucket. And this I will name it bucket, and this bucket will have name Hackitect test bucket. And we can assign it, and here we are talking about the security as code, ACL, and this bucket will be private. All the buckets should be private by default. And then I will assign it some tags, name, Marek's test bucket, and environment will be test. And then I have another resource, AWS VPC, and I will call it Hacky VPC. I will define the class list address, the CIDR block, and instance tenancy. This instance tenancy can be dedicated or default. I will use the default in this case. And then I will assign it some tags. Maybe I can take an environment also here, and environment will be test. And next resource will be the subnet, which is created in this Hacky VPC. You see the reference here, and I am taking this ID of the VPC as a VPC ID where it will be created. That means the subnet will be attached to this virtual private cloud for those who don't know what is VPC, and then I will again assign another tag. So that's very simple setup that we can use and that will work, and I think that we can save it. So file, save our file, and also install the plugin. You can install plugin with Terraform, and you have several Terraform plugins that you can use for syntax highlighting or configuration. I already installed some of them. So you are free to go with what you like and what is good for you. Also, I have a terminal here available, and on my terminal we need to do Terraform init. Terraform init is the first stage of Terraform. It initializes your basic environment and load all the needed plugins, for example, for AWS. So Terraform init will initialize your setup, and then we need to write a Terraform plan. Terraform plan is a planning which will tell you what are the differences and what are the setup that you will add in your environment. For this and for the changes and change management is used special file, which is state file, which is basically checking all the changes in your environment. Here we can see that the resource AWS S3 bucket will be created and with which parameters. Some of the parameters will be known after apply. So here we know that here we see it, AWS S3 bucket will be created. ACL will be private and force destroy will be false. And next thing that will be created is a subnet and VPC. So subnet, we see the cyber block here, and it will also create a new VPC with this cyber block available for us. And also you can set up some of these things if you want. You can set up default route ID table if you want, but in this case we really don't need it, and it will assign it to these tags, test and architect VPC. So to do the next step, because we did the plan, I can say Terraform apply, and it will apply all the changes in my VPC. Okay, I did the typo. Terraform, apologize for it, and Terraform apply will apply all the changes, and it will tell you which changes it will be. Okay, we know the changes are okay, and then I will write yes. Okay, I want to basically apply these changes, and it will create the VPC, the bucket, the Hacky VPC, the subnet. It will create also, and in output I see the ID of the subnet, ID of the bucket, which is the name of the bucket, which must be unique in the bucket space, and also the VPC ID. And after complete, I see that 3 resources were added, 0 changed, and 0 destroyed. Okay, so what if I want to do some changes? I will change, for example, the tag private. This subnet is private, and I want to change the tag to private, and okay, I will save my file, and again I will run Terraform plan. So it will identify the changes that I did in my infrastructure as code, and it will tell you where are the problems, if there is a problem, or if there is some change. Here we can see that one change is waiting for us, and then I will apply the change. So okay, apply, which is basically deployment of the changes. In some platforms the deploy is the keyword. In this case it's apply, and you see one change will be added. I need to confirm that, enter the value yes, and you see here my subnet is modified, modification complete in 1 second, and 1 resource is changed. That's really nice, it works well, it's very good. But I want to add, for example, new resource. I want to add something really new, and then I will show you how it is reflected in AWS. I prepare myself here some security as a code, which you all I think will like, and I will put it here. And security as a code defines, and I'm adding NACLs. NACLs are network ACL, network access control lists, which are stateless. And I will say, because they are stateless, that means I need to define egress and ingress traffic, and allow the traffic from my public IP address. So I'll just check my IP from port 443 to port 443, and the same for ingress. So basically, I will say that I can communicate only on port 443 from my and to my IP address. It's just an example, and basically you will need to define what is in compliance with your policies, with your IP scopes, and with your IP planning. I also add tag architect NACL, and for this I will do Terraform plan. So it should identify the new resource, which will be the network ACL, and it should tell us that there is a new ACL. Okay, I didn't change. Okay, I didn't save the change. This is why it is not reflected. And then I have some problem here. This is really good to show you. Blocks are not expected here, and also there is something missing. So we need to put the knuckles somewhere where it will work, and it will be in subnet as far as I know. Okay, there is a problem with copy paste, so I will copy this part and we'll put it here. Okay. I didn't copy it all. I just see it here. Copy, and I forget the resource here. My bad. I forget this first thing is a resource where I will name the ACL, and I will say again this is assigned to the VPC ID and also the subnet list. This is the list of the strings which are the subnet IDs where there will be the NACL assigned. Now it should work well when I will save it, and I will go with Terraform plan. And Terraform plan is really good that it can tell you that you have problem with your Terraform code. You see here, now it works well, and it is telling me that it will add new network ACL, basically security as code. Really good. I'm looking forward for that, and I will click on Terraform, or I will write in my command line my CLI Terraform apply, and I will apply all of these changes. It will again ask me if I want to apply the changes, of course that I want, and yes, apply the changes. Creating, and it will see you see that edit new resource, basically 0 destroyed, 0 changed, and it created new ACL with this ID. And let's go and check what it does in AWS. So let's check what we have built with Terraform. I'm here in my AWS console. We are in Ireland region, and let's check the VPC. Okay, so services, and I'll want to check VPC. VPCs are isolated cloud resources, and then I have 3 VPCs. I have some already done, but here is the architect VPC that we have created together with the Terraform template. I can click on VPC ID, and you see that the DHCP option set is here. There is some root table, network ACL. The network ACL should be the one that we created with all inbound and outbound rule, and it's not. Maybe it looks like there's some subnet associations. Okay, it's not here. I don't know what's wrong, but we'll check it. Maybe I just assigned ACL only to subnet. So in this VPC, that's what we have created. There should be also available the CIDRs that we described and defined. In the CIDR, yes, the address is the one that I defined earlier, and then I should go to the subnets. In subnet, there is the architect subnet private, that if you remember that I changed the name, and if I will look at tags, here is the private subnet, so it's in the tags, and that's basically the CIDR here. And if I want to check the network ACL that I was looking for, because I assigned it only to my subnets, is here. You see that the rule number 100 and 200, that are the rules that we created together, are allowing traffic on port HTTPS 443 with the TCP protocol. Same as here, and if you see here is my IP address, it's point-to-point IP address, which is allowing traffic basically from my IP address. It's basically very easy to set up, very easy to work with that. Let's destroy the resources and check if the resources are destroyed with Terraform, because it keeps the state of our infrastructure. I should have also the S3 bucket created. Let's go to services and look for S3. S3 bucket will let me know about my buckets created. And here is the Architect test bucket. If I will click on that, it's empty. I didn't set up any special permissions or access control. List should tell me that it's basically private. I didn't configure any cross-origin resource sharing or anything like that. So it's a simple test bucket and it's there. Here we are back in my Visual Studio Code, and I want to destroy everything what I've built with Terraform. It's very simple because we know all those changes, all the states of infrastructure, and I can destroy it with a simple command, which is absolutely amazing. It's Terraform Destroy. Terraform Destroy is a command that will destroy or deprovision our infrastructure. With Terraform Destroy, we will basically know which resources will be deleted and which resources will be maintained if I basically want to maintain some. But here I see that AWS Network ACL will be destroyed. Fine, I'm okay with that. My S3 bucket will be destroyed. No problem. And my subnet will be destroyed. And then my VPC will be destroyed also. To delete the resources, I need to confirm. So yes, I confirm deletion of these resources, and now I see IDs of destroyed resources. After everything is completed, I get this message: destroy complete, resources 4 are destroyed. It's so simple. And it's so really easy maintainable, easy to read. You can version the code, you can do the code reviews, you can test the code. Lots of interesting things that we are not able to cover in a single session. If you like more of these topics, please put it in the comment. I can prepare for you lots of things which I have in my head. I will just dump it in the video because I found that interesting and found that something what is needed to know for every DevOps engineer, for every security specialist, for everyone who is basically working in current days in technology. CloudFormation is a native AWS infrastructure as a code. It's offered in YAML or JSON, and resources section is mandatory for it. So basically resources must be defined. It's obvious. And you can create mapping for different regions. You can have different AMIs. You can use it based on the region. You can have input parameters and also outputs. Really great for people who like serverless. It supports serverless application model. If you'll move forward, there is a CloudFormation Untitled. That's something what I want to disclose for you. There are cross stacks, so you can create different stacks for different VPCs, for example, and they can import and export data between each other. There are also nested stacks. For example, you have different applications. It's like an embedded code for API gateway, load balancing, or RDS, and it's like a code in the code. It's similar to modules. And then you have stack sets that you are having different CloudFormation stacks for the different accounts. Thank you for being with me. Enjoy everything from sharing with you to showing you what is possible and what are the directions where you can go. We didn't talk about security as a code too much today because I really want to go into details in next episodes. Think that it will be good to dedicate special time for security as a code, and especially for the platforms that are allowing you to build the security in the code. So thank you for watching, thank you for being with me, and see you next time.